Welcome back. I'm MTG Joe, and today we're going to be putting out another rotation-proof deck. So this is a deck that features cards only surviving the upcoming rotation. So what we've been doing with this series is exploring a bunch of decks or archetypes that might in some capacity still have a chance of being a deck post-rotation. So we're not claiming on the channel here to be predicting the meta or claiming any of these decks will be the aforementioned best deck in the format, but more so just seeing what cards you can kind of play around with now or themes you could build towards that you don't have to worry about rotating. A good example of this was the Simic ramp deck that we played. It was very powerful with only losing Llanowar Elves out of the main board. So that's a deck you can play and enjoy now, and then still have a deck on day one of the new standard that's fairly competitive, I would imagine, in any capacity, the Nisa ramp strategies. So what we're looking at today is one of the boogeymen of the format, if you would. Esper Tempo, Esper Hero, Esper Annoyance. So we lose the big Teferi, 5-mana Teferi, yay, but his little brother, Time Raveler, is still in the format. So this deck is one that's really going to push the merits of how the mana base will be for a heavy 3-color deck. So the deck itself, we have Hero of Precinct One that triggers whenever we cast multicolor spells. We have a combination of 2-drop multicolor spells and Dovin's Veto as a counter, Thought Erasure to steal your opponent's cards, Tyrant Scorn to either destroy early drops or bounce our own creatures. We have Deputy. I'm opting to go with Deputy in the main here. There is a lot of Scapeshift going around, so this cleans it up very nicely. We got Time Raveler. Deputy can also exile one of our own creatures to get the recycled after a board wipe. We got Time Raveler, which is one of the most annoying cards to play against in Standard, so let's play it in our deck. Othakaya is removal and life gain. Ashiok main. So I'm trying out Ashiok main instead of Narset. My current build is probably a little heavier creature based, so Narset has less hits as opposed to like the Esper Planeswalker decks. This also shuts off Scapeshift, relevant against a lot of graveyard strategies as well. So we'll try out Ashiok here. We might go to what's her name? Narset. I have her on the side so we can see and scale with that. Elite Vanguard and Basilica Bell-Haunt are both our 4-drops. Went a little bit lower on the curve, higher on creatures since we don't have big Teferi anymore. So these are both relevant, both gain us life. One draws a card, one forces your opponent to discard. It'll be interesting to see how consistent we can hit Bell-Haunt's casting cost. And then I like Scorn in a lot of the hero decks. It's a way for us to recycle a lot of our creatures, gain life as well. So I'm going to try that out. And then one Bolas is Citadel. We're gaining a lot of incidental life in the deck, so it's a way for us to get a lot of value. Command the Dreadhorde might be a better bet, but we'll see how that goes. The mana base. This is where things get interesting. We only have one Scryline in these colors, Temple of Silence. I only have 2, so I'm just playing a couple of Scoured Barrens for the life gain. Also playing Dismal Backwater and Tranquil Cove as the additional duels, a couple basics. So we'll see. That's a lot of coming into play tap lands. So we'll see how good these are in terms of casting our spells on curve. Sideboard wise, I got some Noxious Grasps, one of the premium removal spells right now in black. Veto, some Despark versus the bigger stuff. Exile's relevant. Some Narsets, like card draw decks are really good against. Mortify is a catch-all removal and enchantment removal. Some Thieves versus more of these. There's a lot of mid-range green strategies where Thief excels at. Unmoored Ego versus kind of Nexus. You can also hit Scapeshift. It's relevant against a few decks. And a couple Kaya's Wraths just to sweep up the board. So that's the deck itself. We are live on Twitch right now. Thanks for those tuning in live. If you missed any part of it, you can catch all my content on my YouTube channel, MTG_Joe. While you're there, if you can hit that subscribe button, it is a free and easy way to support the channel. Same with Twitch, if you can drop a follow. Both are easy ways to kind of show your support. So we'll run it through a couple games. This one will be the 4th deck in part 3 of the write-up, so I will put through the a more detailed kind of thought exercise. My feedback on all the decks that we've played up to this point, so the mono black mid-range, the green-white tokens, the 5-color Golos gates in this deck will be up on Aether Hub. I'm hoping to get it out this weekend. And then after that, I know I have Feather and a couple other decks that I want to try out. So we're going to mulligan this hand. Gonna mulligan this hand. Okay, this hand's better. Here I'm gonna get rid of the plains. Oh, I gotta get rid of 2 lands. Alright. So we're all in hero. Vampires most likely. So if we can get our double heroes unchecked, it's a pretty good start. They can gum up the board pretty well. Oh, that's interesting. Is this Esper vampires or Grixis midrange? So Grixis is a bit worse. Bell-Haunt's good, but I think we just want to try to dig for a land here. Just because it's likely our land comes into play tapped. Okay, they'll attack in, no blocks. I was hoping for an untapped blue source here, to be honest. So here what I'm going to do is Tyrant Scorn when they pump to try to get them to invest the mana there. If they drop a Bolas here, then I'll discard the Thought Erasure. That sucks. So I'm just going to kill this. I'm surprised I didn't opt to attack first. It was free damage. So here we can set up Sorin, just plus, but it doesn't do that much. I think we just want a Thought Erasure here and try to get a more relevant threat out. Okay, so they have negate, so Sorin would have been negated anyways. So this is a little rough now.
Let your weak minds crumble.
Yeah. We're not gonna beat it with our hand right now. They're gonna just make us start exiling and we're not far enough ahead. So in this matchup, probably the Sparks, a Veto. Thief probably dies anyways. We've seen the Cry, so Hero becomes less relevant. So I'm going to opt to go no Hero here. Just bring in another Dispark. Citadel's nice at gaining card advantage. Probably shave a couple Tyrant Scorns, bring in the Narsets. And run it like this. These all survive Cryocarnarium, which I like. Can probably go down. Do I want the Deputy? We can ego Nico Bolas because we have a hard time dealing with it. Or just play Mortify. Yeah, Yeah, I'll just play Mortify. Turn into more of an Esper control deck post board. Because likely what's going to happen is they're going to bring more Cryocarnariums into the deck. Or like sweeper effects, like Legion's End maybe. Okay, so keep 6. I'm going to put Sorin back. So this is our first instance where this 3-color mana base isn't that great. An untapped land would be perfect to Thought Erasure. Because now they could come back, Thought Erasure us most likely. So we don't have the... Probably just Thief of Sanities to take here. They have double Bolas. So I think I'm just gonna let them be distracted by this. They can spend their whole turn paying mana into it. And then that lets us keep up Dovin's Veto for the Nicol Bolas that turn. They could opt to ignore it and just attack us, which looks like what they're doing. Okay, so we got Teferi. Gotta check how many lands we have. Should be 24, but this is a couple games now that we've blanked on, Matt. We've scryed a couple and drawn at least an extra card. We've had to mulligan to 5 and to 6. Interesting they didn't go oh, they're missing a black for Bolas. They're gonna attack Ashiok. Okay, they're just ignoring us.
Here we go. Behold.
So here, I'm probably gonna go Bell-Haunt first. They'll probably be inclined to discard one of the Nicol Bolases. Hopefully they miss a black source. No, they get it. Bolas comes down, kills it. They hit us for 5.
In exchange for it, I suffer for your cause.
I don't care that they attack Teferi here. That makes more sense, gets them bigger. Thought Erasure doesn't do much.
No, I am not making this up as I go. I have other schemes.
So just falling behind on mana. Ooh, okay, so if we can survive this turn, that's pretty good. Block here. We'll... I think we just go Thought Erasure.
Wipe your bloodline. I outsmarted you eons ago.
Because here what we can do is just block here, we deputy these. Interesting. I think we just keep... They hit us for 7 if they do the pump. Takes us to 3. Yeah, I think we need to block here.
It's only a matter of time.
Okay, so they also have Kefnet. There. So I'm gonna shock myself here to protect with Dovin's Veto. Oof. I think we just get rid of this.
Conceivable. Witness a mote of my power.
We need to get the card draw off Elite Guardmage. We're probably dead this game anyways. Interesting. So no attacks. So Guardmage could attack for 1. This can destroy target creature, gets it out of the way.
I am not going to sit this one out.
So what's Bolas at?
I've got time.
So Soren's a little late to the party. Can Soren get back anything interesting? Elite Guardmage. Ping with a lifelink, but we could just cast Guardmage. Let's probably just get rid of Soren here. I want to keep Teferi to see if they want to prioritize dealing damage to it for whatever reason. Here they might redirect it to Teferi. Yeah.
Should have seen that coming.
Okay, Mortify's not bad. See if they down tick Bolas here. Let's get rid of that.
Defiances infuriate. My schemes are never ending.
Okay, so another Knight of Eben. If we don't draw anything good this turn, I'm just gonna concede. Yeah. Fell a little bit too behind. Like, there's too much card advantage that they're getting. So, run it back for another one. So, a couple things we noticed in that match. Just consistently hitting lands was a little tough. We felt a little bottlenecked. Colors weren't really an issue. Sequencing was. So we'll see if that was just a small sample size or if it's something we consistently see. How's everyone doing in chat? Thanks for those tuning in. I'll keep this hand. We got a Scry to push lines away. And then I could go Thought Erasure into Teferi. So we are, for those just joining, I don't want any more lands. We are playing a rotation-proof version of Esper Hero, so these are only cards that will survive this upcoming rotation. So big things we lose out on are the check lands, like Isolated Chapel, Drowned Catacombs. Oy. Okay, so I think we take the Thought Erasure here. I'll keep Tyrant Scorn. They most likely play Hero here. I'm going to Teferi and bounce it. Interesting to see Seraph of the Scales make a comeback. It's really not that good against Teferi-based decks. So bounce that, it resets their whole turn. Next turn we can play a tap land, gain a life, and then just Tyrant Scorn if they play Hero. Opponent looks to be spending that extra gem money. Okay, so they go Hero again. So since we drew a hero of our own, I'll just kill their hero now. Play like that. If the opponent draws a land, so Quantum Science, tricolored decks usually aren't the norm. Whenever we come to the Ravnica plane, Ravnica focuses on multicolor, where you get a lot of cards that are kind of overpowered, but the restriction is they are hitting multiple colors. The combination of shock and check lands is very good, and allows you to really play multiple colors without being punished by lands coming into play tapped. Whereas what we see in a lot of cases here is now our lands are coming into play tapped, making them a little less effective. So they basically time walk themselves. We'll drop this down and then set ourselves up. So this is one of the first decks that I've played that's been 3 colors, that's not green based or like heavily ramp. The other deck we played was actually 5 colors, but it's a Gates deck, which has a lot of ways of putting extra lands into play. Okay, so they play Seraph. So I'm going to play the Guardmage here. Ooh, Bolas' Citadel is good. So here, I think I'm just going to take the turn. I know we lose to Teferi, but it lets us attack in. This might get them to Hostage Taker our Elite Guardmage, because then I want a turn of Bolas' Citadel that we can really play a lot of stuff. Yeah. Oh, they go with a Hostage Taker. Okay, well, let's go Citadel. That's a little awkward. Was not hoping for that many lands, because they're going to Deputy of Detention the Citadel here. But then we can Deputy their Deputy. Okay, so as expected, the Bolas is... Oh, okay, I thought they were going after Elite Guardmage for a sec. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. They go Seraph. probably attack with Hostage Taker. I just want to maximize the amount of life. Okay, so land. Ashiok. So I'm going to wait on Ashiok because we can mill ourselves. This ends up only costing 1 mana. We can Bell-Haunt. That gains us 3 more life. So we'll mill ourselves. We get Hero. So we can go... We do need to be somewhat mindful of our life. We can get rid of the Seraph of the Scales. So here we'll attack with that. If they don't block, we can sack 10 things. Okay, so they do. So we're 1 damage off of just winning alternate win con with Citadel. So it's a pretty good turn. There was a play to... Okay, so we got them. So it turns out casting a bunch of stuff for free off the top of your library is good. This matchup, so they have a bit more terms of flyers. So I'm going to bring the Kaya's Wrath as a Mirror Breaker. They didn't show too big on curve. I'll also bring in the Mortify. Noxious Grasp is also pretty useful. Coming out, probably going to go down the vetoes. And 2 more cards to cut. I like Scorn to revive stuff. Probably Ashiok. Doesn't do much in this matchup. Let's run it back like that. Since Arena's had these recent updates, like the audio keeps cutting in and out, I find. Like we used to have like these wait menu audios, now it's just like this awkward silence that comes up. It's just, it's funny on this end, it's just like quiet, quiet. So let me know in the comments as well if there's any other decks that you'd be interested in seeing from rotation side. Usually I'll go about 4 decks per article I write. I detail what I cover in them. Alright, waiting on opponent now. We can go Thought Erasure on 2, Mortify on 3. So I think we keep that. Oh. In that particular game, the life gain lines actually helped. They got Thought Erasure or Hero. What's the call, opponent? I'm just gonna do this now. There's a chance they bring in Dovin's Veto. Okay, so my guess is Thought Erasure, but if they have a creature they want to play out, they'll probably play the Mortify. With this mana base, I find we have to shock ourselves a lot more. So I'm going to do this to have Mortify up. So whatever creature they play. This is worse against a Teferi coming down this turn.
What is it? You're doing me a favor.
Dovin's a little awkward. Because do we kill this? So here actually I think we just go Scorn.
I have come for vengeance.
An astonished
We plus on Dovin. And then that way it forces them that they can't create another token. This goes up to a turn. And then we can Oath of Kaya next turn something. Alright, so another Thought Erasure. So would have liked the Oath of Kaya down. I imagine they uptick with Dovin.
There is elegance in simplicity.
Oh, Elder Spell.
This time.
If they wasted an Elder Spell on that, it's probably fine. Just play Tranquil Cove. So 10, put 3 in your hand. Flooding out a bit here. So in that other game, Bolas' Citadel worked a lot better than if we had Command the Dread Horde. That's something we've been trying to see where we're kind of what avenue we're preferring for the build.
I stand on the shoulders of giants.
Too many lands. So forcing them into block if they want to keep their Dovin alive, or like at a higher. Opponent may be opting to not play creatures. Knowing that we have the Mortify in hand. This actually isn't too bad for the mirror.
To innovate.
Mind you, our opponent's got like a tricked out deck. Sure they know how to play the mirror a lot better than we do. Let's go our turn. Jeez. Teferi's a redraw at least. So depending what they drop here, I'm going to probably mortify the creature. We're going to lose it anyways, so we'll just play it now.
This tech gimmick is worth it.
So they can pop it next turn and basically refill their hands with the cards of their choice. That also makes Teferi worse.
I know my responsibility.
I'm still going to do this just to try to get a threat out.
Don't worry, I got this.
Okay, I'm just going to pass turn. They might waste something on killing this Teferi. By playing the second one, we don't really get the card advantage, or like the ability to play another spell this turn. That's cool animation. You don't really get to see Dovin ultimates that often. In the interest of time, depending with it, because
I did not start this fight, but I will finish it.
they can bring out Hero here. Which probably means we're done for...
You just let me know if you're up for it.
It's not bad either. Okay. I guess we could have waited to see if we got Bolas' Citadel that turn, but I think we're dead nonetheless. So in this matchup... On the play, let's go Thief maybe. Both Citadel still fine. We kept the heroes in. Noxious Grasp. Maybe go down the deputies. Just run it like that. The opponent's shown they have Noxious Grasp, which makes our white cards a lot worse. And then a lot of the Esper hero cards have enter the battlefield effects. We gotta mulligan this. No black source. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. So I'm gonna put the Tranquil Grove on the bottom. Cove, not Grove. So I think the thing I noticed most playing this deck so far is we mulligan a lot. We're likely to draw another land before Basilica comes down, plus we have the Thought Erasure turn. So here I'm going to get rid of the Thought Erasure. So hopefully, so they do play a land untapped. It's fine. They're gonna Noxious Grasp. They're gonna Noxious Grasp anyways. Opponent's pretty heavy on lands. But they draw Teferi, because why not?
I've got it.
It's a little awkward. The one land in our deck that can't cast it.
Meet again. I'm known for my excellent That's more like it.
Okay, well, can we find something good here? So we got the time wipe out of the way. I want to try to dig for Basilica Bell-Haunt.
Let's try this.
Okay. If they bounce with Teferi Time Raveler, it's still card advantage, like disadvantage for that. Well, it's card neutral. They draw a card, but they'll lose it. One, when we recast it, we also gain 3 life again.
I've got
time. So we're off Hero. I want to kind of break up their hand a bit. Actually, them discarding Cry is not too bad. They did keep that in. They return their own. So best would be like a white source or something where we can cast both of these in a turn. Kaya's Wrath. Seems fairly aggressive. These are a pretty good combination of cards to have. They scry. So we get that out of the way. So I'm going to keep the Hallowed Fountain in hand. We don't have anything more than 5 mana to cast except Bolas' Citadel, which we can shock it in if need be. If they have a Thought Erasure, they might be incentivized to play it here. Or it fakes that we have some sort of removal spell. 40 cards. They bounce our hero here. And then they take our hero. Is that 3 Teferis for them this game? Just 2. Guess that attack's a little loose. They were going to block with the 1/1 anyways.
This might be a bad idea.
They are burying us a bit now. Okay, Teferi's pretty good.
Trust me, you'll thank me later. No, I am not making this up as I go.
So we're doing that. We don't want to give them another cast of Elite Vanguard or Guardmage. They have to decide about keeping it.
Only time will tell.
Teferi's done his job. It's a lot of lines we've drawn. I think we've surveilled 2 of them. Okay, so they have hero.
I don't enjoy seeing things suffer, but I'll make an exception for you.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
Okay, gets a body off. So no Elder Spell in our list seems kind of loose. Another Teferi. It's funny how I'm both playing Teferi, but also super annoyed with Teferi.
Don't worry, I got this.
So they attack us for a bunch. This also goes up quite a bit. I would probably lost this. Give it another draw or 2. second hero. I think we go after Dovin this turn.